I told everybody to sit up front, but now I feel like I have to question. So turning 40 is kind of big. Some of you may have done it. Some of you may not have yet. 2 of you, maybe. And so I thought it would be really fun to learn a new skill before I turned 40, or as I turned 40. And so I thought I would try something that I know nothing about, and that's stand-up comedy. And so I actually have a friend who's a comic coach. She lives out in LA, so she's been kind of coaching me through this. So shout out to Thea for helping me out. And I also am not very good with memory, so I'm going to hand out these pieces of paper. Raise your hand if you'd like to be involved.
He didn't raise his hand.
He can't read. He can't read.
Jeremy, you don't have to put your hand up.
Okay, yay! I also want to thank, do you have a question? You were involved at the very beginning. You're my mother. Okay. I also want to thank Murray here for setting up all of the sound equipment and making this possible, because you know I'm very shy and I don't have a very loud voice. Always a comedian. Okay, so let's start this off. Number 1, who has number 1?
I do.
Okay, read it, open it up and read it out loud.
Number 1, the first day of my life.
Okay, so the first day of my life was very exciting for my mom and my dad. I don't remember it much. But what happened, so my mother told me a story about the first day of my life, which explains a lot of things. I was born, and after that happened, my mother was resting in her bed, and I was in the little bassinet next to her, and my father comes in, and I can only imagine that he was just so proud to have this second child in his life. And he was so proud, he went over, and he picked me up, and then he tossed me into the air. And my mother looked up and saw my arms and legs flailing about and started freaking out a bit, and then he caught me again, and he put me down. And my mother says, well, why did you throw her into the air? And he says, well, we have to toughen her up.
True story.
Well, I don't think it worked, because from that day on, I've been afraid of heights. I feel like everything in my life comes back, when you're little, right? You probably had traumatic events happen. So I was telling my mother when I was older, oh, I'm so afraid of heights, and I get close to a cliff. I feel like somebody's going to just throw me off the edge. And then that's when she told me this story. So I feel like if our parents could tell us the trauma we had before, that, we don't remember, it would save a lot of therapy costs. Okay, who has number 2? Yes.
Remember when you were little?
Oh, yeah. No, I don't remember when I was little, because I was little, right? So, but my mother does that. She's done this a lot. I don't know, maybe you not as much, but this is what my mom does. Remember when you were little and we lived at that house in Florida and we went to the beach every day? No, I was born. I don't remember that. Does your parents, anybody have that? Okay, yeah. Remember? Yeah. I moved around a lot as a kid, so I really don't remember anything. Remember when you were little and you used to play with that neighbor kid and then you take baths together? Yeah, I'm really glad I don't remember that. But that's also probably more trauma than my therapist would have to work out. And then there's the great one. Oh, remember when you were little and you woke up from that nap and you smeared your diaper all over yourself? Yeah, you know why I remember that? There's a photo. Yeah, back in the day, there's a photo of this. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to print out some embarrassing photos of myself. That would have been one. No, my mother, I think, is a genius, and she doesn't know it, because what do all parents do now? How many of you are parents? Okay, quite a few. So that's you raise your hand as you raise your hand, you hit your child. Okay, that's okay. So now, as parents, when you see your child doing something funny or cute, what do? What's the first thing you do? you get your camera out, you take a picture of it, right? And then if they do something embarrassing, you get it out even faster because you're gonna put it on Facebook, right? You want everybody to know. Now, my mom saw me with a poop smeared all over my body, and the first thing she does is get her camera. So no cleaning up. She gets her camera and she takes a picture of me that I cherish for the rest of my life. Do you have a question?
Does your mom have Facebook?
I actually made her a Facebook account for her birthday a few years ago. So that's because she was stalking everybody through mine. So, but I think back in the day, this is what I'm assuming parents did before Facebook. So they would have these embarrassing photos of their children, and they would get together secretly. And they would have a projector screen with slide projectors, and then all the parents would sit out here, and there would be a projector, and you would put the picture of your child and somebody else bathing, right? And you would either get, everybody would do thumbs up, right? Oh, that's funny. Or then everybody would laugh until they were crying and then roll around on the floor. Okay. And then you'd have the one of the poopy diaper, that would also be funny and laughing and rolling around. Now, but back in the day, instead of having only thumbs up, they had thumbs down as well. So Facebook needs to catch up. Yeah, they need a thumbs down. Isn't there a campaign for that? Thumbs down, Facebook? Yeah. What number are we on? 3. Okay. What do you got?
You were the perfect little sister.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So my parents decided to stop with perfection, and I was the youngest. Anybody else youngest? What? Yeah. You're not very excited about it, youngest. Okay, there you go. And a few of you were probably oldest. They're a little more excited. Who am I forgetting? Middle children. That's right. Yes, they're always forgotten. Yes, the middle child, they're forgotten. Only children who weren't actually children. You were just adults that were shorter. Yeah, that's right. You know it. And okay, so I was the perfect little sister, right? I loved my sister so much. I just always wanted to be around her. Always. I loved her. I wanted to just hug her all the time and be with her, and I never understood why she didn't like that. Why didn't she want me to be around all the time? I loved her so much. It was amazing. And then I learned why, because I grew up, and then I had this little cousin that I used to babysit, and her name's Molly, and she's really cute. But I wanted to strangle her. And I thought, oh, this must be what it feels like to have a younger sibling and want to push them off a cliff. So, okay, I got it. It was great. So I kind of felt a little bad for my older sister when I had this little cousin. And I had this great idea, though. When I was 16, my little cousin was, math. Not good at math. 10? I don't know.
22. 22.
Good one. But she was young enough that I could drive her to my sister's school, her university, for Little Sibs Weekend. Does anybody know Little Sibs Weekend? You ever heard of this? It's where you bring your little sibling to university, right? And then they have all these games, there's inflatable slides, all this great stuff. So I brought my little cousin, and we went on a road trip. And then my sister and I spent time with her together. And then we bonded because we both wanted to strangle her. It was like the best day of my life. My sister finally liked me because there was somebody else to hate. It was amazing. It was glorious. So I thank my little cousin now for giving me that. And she is precious. I do love her. All right, so what number are we on? 4. Okay, who's got 4?
What do you want to be when you grow up?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. So when I was a kid, well, you guys probably had this, right? When you were a kid, there were things you wanted. What were some of the things you wanted to be when you grew up? When you were a kid? An actress? Astronaut, princess? David Bowie. I mean, big. These are big. Yeah, when I was a kid, like the first thing I remember wanting to be when I grew up was the first female professional baseball player. Yeah, okay, all right. And yeah, so of course I have the first woman to be in a Little League series in my audience. Thanks a lot. Stage it. All right, she's actually a Trivial Pursuit question. So, yeah. Victoria.
So you want to be me?
Yeah, I want to be you. No, I wanted to play for the Cincinnati Reds.
Oh, no.
They were awesome. And I was going to be buried in my uniform. But then I went to church camp. Oh, church camp. Anybody ever go to church camp? Yeah, my family. Okay, I got that. But this was one of those things where I would go to church camp and you'd sing all these songs and you would just have all this love and it was so great. And then I would meet these people called pastors that were nothing like the pastors at my church, right? They were like old dudes, and these people were like young and fun, and they played the guitar, and they were like rock stars. So I came home from church camp, and I told my mom that I wanted to be a pastor when I grew up. We didn't really have any pastors in the family. We weren't real super religious, and my mom was like, yeah, okay. And then people would ask me, they'd say, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? I'm like this little kid, and I'm like, I want to be a pastor. And they'd say, you do? And they said, why? I said, for the money! Murray's a pastor. He knows. Okay, who's got number 5? Jerry did it. Oh, okay. What does it say, Jen? Well, it's technically in the first person.
The best part of seminary was when I ran out of money.
Yes, the best part of seminary was when I ran out of money. So I went to seminary for 4 years to be a pastor because you go to school that long to make all the money. And in the middle of seminary, I ran out of money. So I had to do a program where I was a chaplain in a hospital for a summer, and we learned all about being nice, good listeners. I'm still learning that one. And then I ran out of money, so my father, God bless his heart, let me live with him for a summer. Well, and Martha as well. I shouldn't say just him. Martha did too. She had to put up with me. And they were so kind to let me live in their house for free.
Martha talked me into it.
She did. I did tell them that I would mow the lawn all summer. I think that was a big one. But I had run out of money, so I kind of had 3 goals this summer, and I didn't have any money to get them. I wanted the new Coldplay album, I wanted the new Harry Potter book, and I really wanted to see Coldplay at the end of the summer in Cincinnati. I love them. They're great. And the first 2, I was blessed to have a friend give me the CD. My sister bought me the Harry Potter book, because we're close now, right? We're close. And the third one was going to be a little tricky, because tickets are expensive, right? So I thought, I'm going to have to get a boyfriend, because a boyfriend will take me to this concert. Then I met Victor. and it was fun. We met through mutual friends, and I was like, this guy is so funny. He's really great. And I thought, he's such a fun guy. I didn't want to throw the Coldplay thing on him right away, So, we went out a few times and talked about music that we liked. I didn't bring up Coldplay, but I brought up some other artists. I made him you guys remember mixed CDs? This was, post mixtapes, mixed CDs. So I made him this mixed CD, and I put some Coldplay songs in the end. And he listened to it, and he said, oh, I really like this album, but you put some Coldplay songs in the end. I said, you know Coldplay? I said, oh, you know that band? He's like, yeah, I really like them. You like them too? I like Coldplay. Oh, did you know there's I think I heard somewhere that they're going to be playing in Cincinnati at the end of the summer. I don't know, but I just couldn't get tickets. I kind of ran out of money. He's like, oh yeah, I heard they were coming, but I didn't have anybody to go with, so I just wasn't going to go. Oh well, I mean, I could go with you if you wanted me to go to Coldplay. I mean, I don't really have a lot of money. And he's like, oh, I'll get tickets. Yeah, I'll just look online. That's why I never broke up with him. So that was that. Best concert ever. That was it. Okay, are we on? I think we're on the next. What's the next number? 6.
You said 6 times.
Do you have it, Joyce?
Yeah.
Oh, who has number 6? Did I do number 6?
Maybe 9.
Oh, or maybe it says 9. Maybe it looks like 9.
Turn it upside down.
Okay, is there a number 6? Uh-oh. See, I told you I'm bad at math. Oh, okay, this is Victor and I's first date. Maybe I didn't make this because technically that bit rolled into the next bit. So Victor and I actually, I will say, I didn't know Victor wanted to really date me at first because like I said, we met through mutual friends, and he did get my number, and he called me one day, and asked me if I would like to go frisbee golfing with him because at the previous party we were together. I mentioned frisbee golf, and do you know what frisbee golfing is? Okay, have you ever seen a frisbee? Okay, any of you ever heard of golfing? Okay, so you throw a frisbee, and instead of putting a little white ball in a hole, you put a frisbee in a basket. Right? All of you should be really excited about this. Ben, right here in the blue sweater, we met him frisbee golfing, and he came to my birthday party, so it's an amazing sport. Okay. So anyway, frisbee golfing. And like I said, I was working this summer in a hospital, so I had all these group of people with me, and I went in the next day and I said, this guy asked me to go out with him on Wednesday, but I don't know if it's a date. And the other girls in the group were like, well, have you thought about what you're gonna wear? I thought, frisbee golfing in the middle of the summer in Ohio. Probably shorts and a t-shirt, yeah, this isn't a date. Okay, not a date. So I show up, and luckily both of us had finished the last Harry Potter book, and that's all we talked about. Anybody remember book 6? Yeah. I'm not telling you what happens at the end, just in case you haven't read it. So we're debating whether or not we like Snape, all that kind of stuff, and it was about like hole 16 that I just looked at Victor and said, what is your last name? I knew nothing about him, other than all this Harry Potter stuff. So finally, we figured out that we got along really well, and I realized a few clues that it wasn't a date was when I saw Victor, and he came walking toward me, I remember what he was wearing, and I kind of remember it as maybe like 15-year-old mesh, like basketball shorts, and a cut-off t-shirt that like went all the way down to his waist. Yeah, not a date. Not a date. So this is, and then after this is over, we're done frisbee golfing, right? It's around dinner time, and I'm thinking, like, is he gonna ask me to go get some food? You know? No, he's like, oh, okay, well, see you later. And I thought, okay, I said, well, what are you gonna do now? You gonna go get some dinner? Oh yeah, I was thinking about going to get some barbecue. Can I come with you? He's like, yeah, okay. Not a date. So we jump in the same car because we might as well go there together. And we get to the restaurant, and raise your hand if you forgot your wallet. And I haven't lived that down. That was, 12 years ago? Yeah, not a date. So I should have remembered my wallet and paid for myself. Is that right? Yeah. Was it a date, Victor?
I paid for both of us.
Yeah.
You're still paying for it.
So, and then during dinner, he's telling me about his 2 cats, and I thought, okay, not a date. Likes girls. I don't know. It was all right. It was a date. Let's vote. Who thinks that was a date? Oh. I lost. But I won at the same time. But I did actually try to break up with Victor once. This was, Nikki is laughing because she is part of this story. So Victor is from Great Falls, Montana, which I like to call Meteorical Falls, Montana. And I went to visit Victor and his sister and his mother when they were he went to visit his family, and I met up with him. And we were living apart at the time, and I just had so much fun. So Victor's sister and I, we're like the same personality type. We like a lot of the same things, except for sriracha. But we just got along so well, and their mom was just amazing, just the nicest. I couldn't even handle it. And so 2 months in a row, I had spent these little weekends with Victor and his family, but the second one, I thought, this is it. I can't handle this. I'm gonna break up with this guy, because when he breaks up with me, I am gonna be devastated. So he's driving me to the airport in Great Falls, Montana, that is a 2-gate airport that you don't even go through security until they call your flight. So tiny. Anybody ever been to Great Falls? Yeah, okay, you guys don't count, you've been everywhere. And I get really quiet in the car ride. And that's usually when you know something's wrong with me, because I'm a talker. And I get really quiet. Victor's like, what's wrong? What's what's wrong? And I said, nothing. And he's like, no, really, tell me, what's wrong? And I said, I don't know, I just love you so much, I can't help it, it's just horrible, your mom and your sister are so amazing. And he's like, are you trying to break up with me? I don't know what I'm doing, I'm so confused, I don't know, I'm not even know why. He's just driving, calm, and he's like, I'm not gonna let you break up with me. Okay. And we get to the airport, and like, you don't even pay for parking. Like, you just park, you walk into the airport, and we're sitting there in the waiting area, and I'm just kind of like, and he's like, I can't believe you just tried to break up with me. I know, I'm sorry. And he said, you know, that's it. That's your one chance. You only get one, and you just used it. And he says, you know what that means? I will eventually get a chance to break up. It was about 4 or 5 years later, after we were married. And it was a bachelor party weekend when Victor decided he wanted to break up with me. And I said, fine, you have fun getting some chicks at that bachelor party, old guy, and I'm gonna have a great time. And I said no. All right, what's the next number? Are we at number 7? I think it skipped 6.
Do you have any children?
None that I know of. But it's funny when I say it. Not funny when he says it. And you might have noticed that Victor and I don't have children. It's because we hate them. Not you, Jeremy. That's why they're all downstairs and they didn't hear that joke. No, I don't remember the rest of this bit that I was going to say, but it was something funny about us not having children. Do you remember what I was going to say? What was it?
10 years ago when people would ask.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So, like, thank you. See,
It had to do with math.
Math. It was math. It's a number. No, what's number 7? I don't know. Okay, so, like, when I used to tell people that I didn't have children, like maybe 10 years ago or so, they would be like, oh, there's still time. Don't you worry about it. There's still time. And now, when I tell people I don't have children, they just kind of smile.
You understand.
There's no more time. Your ovaries are dry. We'll just have to steal some other people's children. I was just telling somebody the other day, though, that, actually today, that I want to open a house for kids who get kicked out of their house because they tell their parents they're gay. And I just want to have, like, musicals and a softball team, and everything's going to sparkle. So, that's future goals. Future goals. All right, what's the next number? 8. Okay.
Parlez-vous français?
Non, je ne parle pas français. Très bien, merci. This is actually the 3rd country Victor and I have lived in where we don't understand anything anyone is saying. So Belgium, that's this one. We lived in Niger, and then we lived in England. So, and when we lived in England, I got a job at an outdoor center, so I was working with kids who would come for school, and we'd mountain bike, and we'd hike, and we'd do all these great things, but the kids, every so often, would have no idea what I'm saying, and I could never understand it. Like, for example, when we would go mountain biking, and it was cold outside, everybody would be wearing their rain gear, and, long pants and long shirt, and I'd say, okay, everybody, tuck your pants into your socks if they're too long. Now, pants, if you've ever lived in England, means underwear.
Oh, yes.
And so I'd say pants, and the kids would be like, oh my God. She said pants. And my colleague would be like, she means trousers. Like, you can't translate that? Like, that's not pants. Okay, so, yeah, kids. Oh my gosh, these kids. And they would always ask me, they'd be like, are you from America? Yes, I'm from America. Do you play soccer? Yes, I play soccer. Oh, I'm going to put some trash in the trash can. Good one, kid. But one of the things that we did that was so fun is we'd get these large groups of kids, and we'd split them up into small groups of 3. And 2 adults would go with 3 kids, and we would be dropped away from the campsite that we were at. And the kids had to use these maps to find their way back to the campsite. And it was so fun. And these kids, we'd have them for the whole weekend, and this was like their ultimate goal, and they really embraced it. But every so often you'd have a kid that was kind of tired. Right, and there was this one girl in my group once, and bless her heart, she was so cute, and she just, at the end of the day, she had her pack on, and she's walking, she's like, Katie, because that's how she would say my name, Katie, are we lost? And I would say, no, look, you guys did a great job, we're on the map, we're right here, you're doing so amazing. And she'd say, no, are we lost? No, you know exactly where we are, we're not lost. I can see the camp at the end of the road. You guys are doing great. I'm really just trying to make this girl not cry. And she says, no, are we lost? And my colleague turns to me and says, she wants to know if we're last. Oh, yes, yeah, we're last. We were the last group. But then there's some things that don't translate, because being from America, we use different words. There was one word in particular that I didn't know you couldn't use in front of children. Yeah, Sue knows this story. So I tell this one a lot. You know it. And there was this kid, some of the groups we worked with, the kids they weren't like bad kids, but they were just a little rough around the edges. And this kid, I don't know, he was getting his stuff out of the van, and he was dinking around and doing stuff. And I said, hey, quit being such a twat. Yeah. I didn't know you could not call a child that word. Because I hung out with Victor's friends and played board games, and that's all they called each other. And on TV, people would use it on TV. Okay, in America, we don't use that kind of stuff. Yeah, I had no idea. I thought it was like brat or quit being a slowpoke. Yeah, no. Then I said it again a little while later, because he was doing it again. He was making me like, ah! And I said, please quit being such a twat. And my colleague turns to me and she's like, hey, come here. She goes, you can't say that to a child. And I said, why? Like, what? Is there something wrong? Is that a bad word? She's like, it's like the C word. And I was like, cookies? But this was not something I grew up with. So just to let you know, FYI, the T word is bad. Okay, don't do that. Don't use that word. No, they're like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, so the other thing that's fun. No, I won't tell that one. What's number 9?
Maybe you're not good at math, but you seem to have a good memory, so I'll say it in Flemish.
Uh-oh.
Er is een huis te koop in mijn buurt. Look at the screen.
No, my screen went dark.
There's a house for sale in my neighborhood.
Oh, there's the house. So we move around a lot because Victor's in the military, and we don't like any of our family. So, but my sister, remember like when we bonded, like that was some good stuff. That was good. And we've kind of been bonded over the years because we don't live anywhere near each other. But every so often she'll say, you know, Katie, there's a house for sale in my neighborhood. And I'll just look at her on FaceTime, thousands of miles away, and say, don't you just like what we've got going here? I mean, we're doing real good. She still wants me to be around. So I'm afraid if I live next to her, I might just all go away. I make jokes about the other sister because she's not here. Right? My sister-in-law. I'll live next to her. Don't tell my sisters. She's probably listening. Are you FaceTiming her? I love you, sister. All right, what's number 10? I think I'm almost done. Please, Lord, let me be done.
Does getting older freak you out?
Oh, totally not. I think one of the fun things about getting older is that I was compared to so my mom, I feel like because I'm a woman, I identify with her a lot. But I look a lot like my dad. If anybody sees my dad, they're like, oh, you look just like your dad. Has anybody thought that tonight? Yeah, okay. Oh, even raising hands. Now, but when I'm with my mom, people are like, you look exactly like your mom. Yeah, has anybody else thought that tonight? Yeah. Okay, so I decided, oh, poor Leander right here. So I decided that I could age gracefully because I feel like my mom has aged gracefully. And one day when I was older, I said to my mom, we're having this deep conversation. I said, Mom, don't you just love that when I was a baby, you would change my diapers? And now, isn't it funny? We can have these deep theological and philosophical conversations about life and the world. Isn't that funny? She said, no, it's not going to be funny until you're changing my diapers. That's when it'll be funny. Which might be soon. Don't tell her I said that. She might have heard. Is there a number 11? Oh, thank God. Okay, there's not a number 11. So I want to say thanks to everybody for coming this evening. To my wonderful family who came all the way from lots of different places. And it's been an interesting emotional roller coaster these last few weeks. Lots of fun things going on in our family and some not so fun things. But thank you all also for coming. And I want to especially thank my dear husband, Victor, who is just putting his dishes in the dishwasher shy of perfection. And I think his jokes might have been funnier than mine. So, but thanks to Victor. And thanks to everybody for coming and my one-time only adventure of being 40. Thanks.